Stage 6 of the deployment cycle is renegotiation of the marriage and begins with the soldier's arrival home and lasts for the first few weeks of the homecoming.
You go to camp like an hour and a half earlier than you should do, and you're stood in the square, A, freezing, or B, getting sunburned, depending on what time of year it is, and you're just waiting for that bus to arrive, and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and they get off and they stand there and go, hiya, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, you're here.
I know when he did come home, I just sort of went, blah. That's him home, he can deal with everything now.
We just have a big party when he comes home.
Stage 6 is a really happy time for the families. And we try to make that as important as anything else. The soldier's home, he's home safe, he's back with his family, and that we try and make that an enjoyable time for the family. So we will certainly be having a homecoming parade. We were getting the families involved in that.
Formed units, when they come back, we've got 34 Squadron coming back. There's going to be a big parade in the local village or local town, Bedale, which all the station will be going to.
We travelled down to Bryce Norton to meet him, and I remember it being very snowy that day and quite cold, but we got through okay, and it was so emotional really seeing him coming back. We were just grateful he was back safely.
This stage begins with the homecoming of the deployed soldier, which can be a wonderfully joyous occasion. Typically, a honeymoon period follows in which couples reunite physically, but not necessarily emotionally.
I have my routine, that's how I get through, until he comes back. So when he comes back, it takes a bit of getting used to have someone else sort of disrupting my pattern, do you know what I mean? So it's weird, obviously you want them back, but when they're back, you're a bit like, oh, give me the remote back, like things getting settled back into having them again.
Right, guys, come on, let's go.
Where?
Out.
All right.
Pack it up, please. No, you can't do anything. Finish your game. Let's go. Turn it all off, please, guys.
Where are we going?
You know she's managed to survive without you, with just her and the kids for the last like 6 months. And what sort of routine has she got into? And your problem then is you can't just come home and expect Vicky and the kids to get into, I walk through the door, right, this is now my routine, you have to fit into mine. It's not the case. You have to slowly try and adapt to Vicky and the kids' routine.
With John getting used to doing everything on his own, you tend not to communicate. So I'll get on with my bits and John will do his bits, and you forget you've not talked through each other. So it's getting used to talking through what you're doing and sharing the responsibility again. It's not that you don't want to share things, it's just you get used to doing things on your own.
Try to reassure them that actually things will be different, because whilst their loved one is deployed, they will find themselves settling into a routine. Jobs that maybe he had done beforehand, they are now doing. And they're going to come back into this, and it's, what do I do? Do I give it back to them, or do I carry on doing it? And there's all those questions that they will ask, and as a welfare worker we can help them manage that, and experiences that they'll gain when they come back, we try to manage that with them.
On the return, I think we do a lot of work with people, certainly with our groups, so that they have a good understanding of reintegrating that serving person back into their lives. And I think coming back from theatre, there needs to be it takes a lot longer for people to come back and reintegrate into the family because of their experiences. I guess from the serving person coming home, particularly from Afghanistan, where day to day you look at the people of Afghanistan, you look how they live their lives, and then you come home and your child's got a television in the room, they've got a DS, they've got a computer, they've got numerous other games, and they're bored, and that might kind of feel quite trivial to you, except that the child here doesn't understand that because that's their life.
It's not going to be how it was when they first went away, and it's just that transition period coming from an operational tour, coming back to normal life where they're putting the dustbins out, doing the washing up.
Some spouses may experience a sense of awkwardness. Thus, the desire for sexual intimacy may require time in order to reconnect emotionally first. Eventually, the returning soldier will want to reassert their role as a member of the family, which can lead to tension. Hence, in addition to excitement, spouses may feel a loss of freedom and independence and resent the partner making decisions that should be theirs together. Children may have feelings of love, anger, resentment and guilt. Such feelings stem from factors churning inside the child: insecurity, anger, the loss of special status and change in daily routines. Remember, it takes time together with shared feelings and experiences to really become a couple again.
And one half of you is completely elated that they've survived, they're home, they're in one piece. You know, they might not be in one piece, but they're home, they're physically in front of you. But at the same time, you're just thinking, get out of my way. Just go away.
Routines, roles and responsibilities need renegotiating. The returning soldier might feel like a stranger in their own home. The marriage will not be exactly the same as before deployment because both husband and wife have gone through different experiences and grown in different ways. Couples need time to become reacquainted and renew their relationship.
You readjust to compensate when they're not there. So when they're back in again, it's like sometimes, depending on the length of time they've been away, it's almost like having a stranger in your house again. So you've got to take time to get to know together. He's got to fit back into your routine that it's like learning to live together again.
I think it gets easier the more
times you do it.
Yeah, it's an awful thing to say, but it's true. The more tours you do, the more you get used to it in the fact that it's not wrong to think, oh, just go away again, leave me alone. I've got used to doing things without you. I don't need you to change that light bulb. And it's not wrong for thinking it. And even if you end up saying it, don't feel guilty because that's how every wife feels, or husband that's been left behind.
Being aware of each other's needs is crucial at this point. Reunion with children can also be a challenge. Their feelings tend to depend on their age and understanding of why the soldier was gone. Babies less than 1 year old may not know the soldier and therefore cry when held.
I think it's probably, I worry that they won't be building the relationship because he's 6 months, and so when he comes back, that there'll be a 6 month period quite young where they won't have been together and playing, and that's when I not worry, but just kind of like that will be interesting to see how that works.
And so it's then hard to get used to doing everything as a family again. I think it'll be hard for the children because they'll all want to spend time with Dad, so that'll be quite difficult.
We also have quite a lot of people who come back as individual augmentees from out of area, be that in Op Herrick, the Falklands, anywhere over the world really. What we do for those individuals, because at the moment they don't go through Camp Bloodhound decompression in Cyprus, is we organise what we call a Station Recall Day, which is a morning or an afternoon where we get the community support team together. So we have Safa there, we have our padre, we have myself, and we actually go through what difficulties they could find, emotions they've experienced since they've come back. We talk about people who've been away at the Falklands. It's obviously very different to being away in Op Herrick, but they've still got that issue of separation, which we need to deal with, or at least make them aware of, which is what we do in the operational recovery days.
Toddlers may be slow to warm up. Preschoolers may feel guilty and scared over the separation. School-aged children may want a lot of attention. Teenagers may be moody and may not appear to care. In addition, children are often loyal to the parent that remained at home and do not respond to discipline from the returning soldier. Relish and delight in the reunion. This has long been awaited. But remember, it is not realistic to expect everything to be the same as it was before deployment. Take things slowly. Be patient. Little by little, everyone will learn how to be a team again. communication, communication, communication. This really is key at this stage of the deployment.
It takes time, I think. Every time he goes away, it takes time because my routine is completely different. You know, there's only 2 people, me and my son, and we have got own routine. And when he comes, he have got so it takes time.
They have to go through decompression, they have to come back, and sometimes they have to go back into work. And so you won't see them and you won't be able to go on holiday straight away, you know, that kind of thing. And that's frustrating for them. It's great that they've got their husbands back, but they don't understand that these guys have to come back, especially when Tenfield went away. You know, they came back and they went straight back into work for about a week, and they didn't understand that. So that, obviously, there was frustrations there. But it was really just people venting anger rather than saying, well, what can you do about it? There's nothing they can do about it. That's just how it rolls. And then, to be honest, from my side of it, once the deployment's back, if there are any problems, I don't tend to see them, which is great. They know I'm here to signpost, but if there are any problems to do with families coming back and knitting back together, SAFA tend to pick that up and they'll go straight there with that. You know, people are quite quiet when they come back, quite private. Some they just go away and do their holiday, or they just sit tight at home and just enjoy being back together. But it doesn't always flow well for some people.
We're lighting candles in a number of churches in our recruiting areas, and at this stage when the soldiers come back, there is the systematic blowing out of these candles, which really marks the end of the tour, and that's what this phase is all about. It's about saying that is the end of the tour now, families are home. Settling back into the house is quite a tricky time for the families, especially if they've got children. And we would encourage families at this stage to spend some quality time together. You know, mum and dad need quality time together.
We also have what we call the Operational Welfare Fund, which is controlled by the community support team. And what we do with that is we try and put on events for the families who are deployed. A lot of stations do this in different ways. I know RAF Waddington is a case, they actually buy up en masse tickets to lots of local attractions. So people, when they come back from out of area, can use that and they can go and have a good time with their family or partner.
Dad and children need quality time together, and if it's the female soldier that's deployed, she needs quality time together with her children as well. And we would always encourage that. And we would put events on where after the soldiers have come home, you know, we don't finish there. We would put an activity on where the kids could have some fun and mum and dad could escape and get a bit of time to themselves. The soldiers go through decompression, and we feel it's important that mum goes through decompression as well. And we're actually planning something, a bit of a fun activity with the wives in the garrison here, where, you know, we can take them away for a day and pamper them and let them have their decompression as well.
Definitely we'll have a big party when he comes back. Balloons, welcome home stickers, plenty of booze.
Stage 6. Return, adjustment and renegotiation. Remember, during Stage 6, take things slowly. This is a happy and enjoyable time for families. Your loved one has returned safe, and it is important that they adjust back into family life and routine. Take time out to get to know one another and spend time as a family unit. Talk to your support network by raising your concerns. Ask for advice and guidance from such agencies as the NSPCC, children's centres, health visitors about how and what to expect from your child's point of view of their parents' homecoming and re-establishing their position in the home. Let your child's school, nursery, childminder or carers be aware of their parents' homecoming and talk to their support system if you have any concerns. A reminder that before any of your loved ones return from theatre, they will undergo decompression. You are able to get things into order and ensure that you are as prepared as much as you can be, given that flight dates and times may be changed at the last minute. In the meantime, your loved ones are being provided with plenty of support through briefings from the Padre and one-to-ones if required before their homecoming. Again, communication is key. It is vitally important throughout this stage to communicate to ensure this stage of adjustment and renegotiation is as smooth as possible. If you need support through this stage, contact the relevant welfare office or community team who will assist you or signpost you on to the relevant support agency.